Should be good to go.
You checked out Tezos yet?
Should be good to go. All right. We're live, boys. All right, let me transition this thing. Look how fancy I am. All right, cool. All right, guys. Sorry for the late entrance. We are live and in charge over here, OnChain and UnCut. Welcome back to another episode. Tonight I have Medici and Nighthawk from the Crypto Wells joining us. Guys, thank you guys so much for joining. You guys have made a lot of headway in the last week, I would say. I think your Discord started off somewhere around, I think you had somewhere around like 50 people when I got pinged, and I just saw y'all are like up to 1,300 or so. I know you guys are growing fast enough to get botted, which Nighthawk can go into more detail about. But guys, thanks so much for...
The battle is on. We're winning though. The defenses have been shored up.
Absolutely. If you want to look up here, Medici, this will be the chat. This will pull from YouTube and whatever else. So if you want to check up here, you don't have to toggle screens. You can simply look up here. And any questions you guys have out in the audience, feel free to throw it in the chat up top, and we'll handle them as they come in. So without further ado, guys, welcome. I'm glad to finally put a face with each of you guys' name, and really, I think it solidifies. I was talking to Nighthawk. I think it solidifies putting a face with the name of a project. I think it really it lays the groundwork, especially in the beginning. So pleasure having you guys on.
Yeah. It's such it's a bit frustrating in the space how you kind of want to be anonymous just to, avoid the different spammers and scammers out there.
Sure.
But building community is such a personal endeavor that at the very least, I think having some FaceTime is good. And, when you can, I suppose, giving some more background information about the creators, but delicate line to walk there for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, the initial start of this, and I'll share when we go backstage after the show, the initial start of this was like old school 80s TV sets with avatars, and every guest I had coming on, we were going to automate it where the avatar of the, each individual guest would then correlate with their, talking points. Dude, what a nightmare it was for the guests to, like, each individual time. You guys see, we're all running around backstage to get this thing off the ground. So that's the way it was intended. But like you say, it's just that personal touch of having a community that, they're buying into you as a brand. And, the fine line of that anonymity of being an avatar running a community, especially with some of the money we're talking about, whether it's Ethereum or Wax or Polygon or Solana or whatever, I think community, and I think one of the ones I cut my teeth on Ethereum, so Picasso Punks was like my entry into the community as far as a project. But the Bored Apes, I think they proved that community can really elevate, and not only elevate the project and the direction of that project and its outcome, but it can elevate members of that community itself. Not only just to get the project to a certain tier, but like ape follow ape, let's just call it. And I never really pull Bored Ape stuff because I'm kind of like, I stay in my own lane. I do things the way I do them. I was telling Nighthawk before the show that it's very much a business, but you're building a community at the same time. So I'm very old school, where a lot of new people are new school. I didn't have a Twitter until April of this year. Like I've never had social media in my life. I've built marketing firms. I've built sales divisions of companies, of some bigger companies, and I built my own companies. And I think that personal touch, when it comes to like a sales role or a marketing role, you can automate the process of anything to the nth degree, but
Mhm.
without that backing of the personal touch, that's never going to go away. The
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to go away. Why do you think so many projects build these discords or have these talk shows or have the voice or hangout chat in the Discord or Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse or what
Oh
have
yeah.
you? There's that personal touch, that I think is necessary to carry on. I mean, you can do some drops and do some money grabs or whatever and move on, but
Yeah, you have reputation, right? And relationships are how humans connect. And it's easier to connect to a face, even if it is in a form of an NFT or animated object or a whatever. But the real human face is powerful. So first, let me just say, hey, Coins, thanks for having us on.
no problem. Bro.
I love what you're doing here, spreading the good word for the NFT community, and this is the kind of stuff that we need to help the normies, if you will, immerse into our space and start to understand it. It's all about education and teaching and making it easy to learn and reducing those barriers. And that's part of the relationship building, right? So a few things I'll say in terms of communities and sort of how I look at NFTs. I think you lead with value first, just like anything else. And as a startup founder and an owner of your own company, I'm sure you've learned this, whether the hard way or easy way, right? Ultimately, if you can help someone understand something, they're much more willing to jump into it, whether it's a product, a service, a community, whatever. And so for us, just like being on here, and we also have weekly crypto talks and weekly NFT alpha type chats where we do an hour long and try to, we get some folks that have been in the space for quite a while who have a lot of experience or expertise in certain areas and have them share that knowledge with newer folks in the community. And ultimately what we're building and how I look at this is with the combination, these NFT projects and communities combined with DAOs and even some DeFi, right? Essentially, these DAOs are the new decentralized startups, and sort of combining startups and open source projects and adding an additional layer of not just a magnification of recognition, but also a monetary incentive. If you're holding NFTs from the project and the project does well, you do well too. So it's sort of equivalent to stock options almost.
Sure.
And then when you think of, okay, well, where does that go? What ultimately is the project's or the community's product or service? And ultimately, we're just starting to see it, right? Big brands are starting to understand the power of these communities. And a statistic I like to reference, it's a bit dated from my last startup, but we worked with and I spoke with pretty much some of the largest brands in the world. They're all looking for interactive, experiential content, and most importantly, user-generated content.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because user-generated content, when you see a friend's social post or whatever, or something shared with you, 94% of people trust that and actually give it some credibility, and so obviously a very high conversion rate of taking a look at what was posted. For the typical brand who posts an ad, it's 13%. And so there's a huge difference in conversion and sort of the optimization of your spend as a brand. And they've all sort of started waking up to this around the same time as these NFT communities have been building. And so we're already starting to see with some of the bigger ones, and I'm not sure what's announced or what's not, but with Bored Apes and Cool Cats, some very large global well-known brands are speaking with them, right?
Yeah, I mean, DraftKings just did the Cool Cats raffle it was like a 1 through 20 giveaway for DraftKings. Yeah. And then, DraftKings getting involved with that kind of monetary advantage, it's that says everything right there.
It's huge, right? So now you've got these massive kind of community driven, because each member of the DAO who's holding NFTs has a vote proportionate to how much they're holding.
Sure.
Right. And Noun's DAO was I think, one of the best projects to champion this, but you could look back to 2016, and there's a rare Pepe card that's that's a DAO card. And so, I mean, the concept's been around for a while, right? But like most change, it takes a while for the adoption to happen. And so what's really exciting is now these brands come, let's say Oakleys, and they say, okay, hey, we're going to create 10,000 Oakleys that you can put on your avatar, PFP, NFT, or whatever. And you can claim them for free for however long, and then they can go up for sale. But ultimately, or however they do it. But ultimately, the point is, if you put them on your, let's say Bored Ape, you get rewarded for that, right? Not only are you getting extra NFTs, but there's some sort of monetary reward and budget that these brands have that they're willing to. Maybe you get a free pair of Oakleys, right? I mean, there's real value, versus trillions of dollars being spent on jamming ads down people's faces that everyone's sick of, to actually literally giving value to people, and then those people organically share user-generated content with their friends, talking about how great your brand is.
Well, they have skin. They have skin in the game. They have skin in the game, being in the DAO. I mean, they've got the power to vote. Yeah, the power to vote. Not only it's twofold. Not only does it give them skin in the game and a feeling of ownership within your project, but it's giving them, the extended version of, yeah, I mean, exactly what you're saying. Like, I can just go on a rant. I don't want to cut you off, but
yeah. Well, hey, really quick, Todd, we are brothers. We are twins. I just saw your message or your question in chat. So yeah, we have some stories we could tell about that, but maybe another time.
That's actually Pixel Labs. He's got a real big project that we're actually collabing on. Birds on a Bender, and now we're
nice.
Yeah. Now we're going through Wanted for Birder. You heard it here first. Literally, nobody even knows about that. But yeah.
Well, first of all, hey, you gotta love the birds, right? And number two, tell us just really quickly, what's Wanted for Birder? What's that about?
Wanted for Birder is so Poly and Coins. I've got the Ethereum bird, which is NFT bird. Shout out to them. That was my first Ethereum NFT I ever bought. But Polly and Todd and I are like of the same mindset. We've got the same work ethic. We're in the same blockchain. So it was just a matter of time before we started being cohesive. So now we've partnered up, and now we do the birds in different collabs. So the first one was Birds on a Bender. They went to Vegas and did some debaucherous things. Now it's
birds will.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The old dirty birds. You know what I mean? So now the theme is, and there's actually 2 more projects to follow. We're going to cascade them out, making them more rare and rare as we go. But the next one is Wanted for Birder. It's actually the 2 birds killing each other in different forms and fashions of styles, like like they might shoot each other. Or I think there's a guillotine at one point. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's so yeah, it's so. So that's the thing. That's the thing with this pixelated art, which is this project, which we're actually building. I don't want to get too far off the path, but there's actually going to be a tool that might come of this partnership as well. But anyway, Wanted for Bird, the pixelated art is just innocent enough that they can do stuff. Like, they can blow cocaine and it's still adorable. It's not too real.
It's not real.
Yeah, it's not too real.
Man, the adult cartoons.
Yeah, exactly.
South Park does a good job of it.
They can get away with it. It's just enough to push the envelope to attract that market of, oh yeah, they're smoking weed, and it's just cute enough to keep it within the mainstream to where it's like, oh my God, did you see what they're doing? You know what I mean? So it's that slippery slope and fine line you got to walk, but we're doing
what crypto and NFTs are.
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's pushing the boundaries a bit, whether it's on the DeFi side and scaring the shit out of the banks.
Yeah.
And then the banks are scaring the hell out of the politicians. Or on the NFT side with it's really interesting with the derivative works, and not to mention public commons and anything over 80 years, and then remixing that up, and you have this new medium that artists can work in where you can have animation, you can have sound, you can have all this extra stuff that goes into it, And so it's really fascinating watching the different artists and having this connection to the artists, whether you're a project creator or like a more traditional artist.
Yeah. For sure.
Creating like these communities are just being created because people love that connection on both sides of it. And so more and more creative folks are being, there's more incentive to be an artist now, right? And versus doing a 9-to-5 job and wanting to kill yourself. Now you can go pursue your creative passion, and there's actually channels of distribution and monetization that didn't exist before. You had to basically get discovered, and just to get discovered, you had to like bribe someone to get into a gallery, or get someone to like kind of put your stuff out there, else there's just nothing.
Well, that was
right. So I think in 3-5 years, there's 1 billion collectors of art in the world.
Yeah, there was a whole thought process behind, and I'm not taking away. I want to talk about the crypto wells, but there was a whole thought process. I started in crypto in January. It snowballed into full time. Like I quit my corporate America job.
Oh yeah.
It's turned into full time like January 13th of this year, and then that snowballed. I found an NFT, which I started on Nifty Gateway. That was my first introduction into
sure.
the NFT.
US dollar makes it easy
correct.
To get in.
Yeah, correct. And that's what I love, and I don't want to take away from Ethereum, but that's what I love about Wax. Like the ease of entry, the barrier to entry is nil. I mean, you can have a Wax wallet within 30 seconds, and you can buy Wax with your credit card straight from the Wax. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the whole idea from behind Agora was, you guys be creative. Like I pull in real world artists, like even the Clowns Oliver, that's all hand painted. Like the backgrounds are done on spray paint on cardboard and it's scanned
awesome.
in. Yeah, so I bring the real, you don't have a NFT collection, no problem. You don't have a wallet, no problem. You're not verified, you're not whitelisted, no problem. You don't know how to use a computer, no problem. Bring the art. I'll build the community around you, like this channel that you just described. That's all this is.
Accelerator, man.
Yeah, that's all it is. And this is what I like to do. I like building. Like I don't have the creative part. I got a little bit of it. Like in 5th grade, I think I won an art contest. But you know what I mean? Like this is what I like to do, and I appreciate the art. So like I feel like not only the NFT space, how early we are and where we came into play. Like this doesn't come around but once in a lifetime. But I think this space we're in, I feel almost at an unfair advantage because I enjoy the art, I enjoy building communities, and I get off on building things to the highest potential of something. And then I think this for me is more of an end game at this point because I normally build things. I got about a 30-60-90 plan, and then it turns into a 3-year plan, and then I want to go build something else. This is like, I want to see how far I can take this.
Well, yeah, there's so much you can keep contributing to the ecosystem, right? And so it's not just the artists and the collectors, it's also all the developers and the builders. And there's a lot of creativity in that. Some of it is just being annoyed, right? And feeling the pain and like, I'm going to build a tool that fixes this because if I'm having to deal with this, a bunch of other people are. So whale wallet trackers or data, tracking stuff or all these tools that's sprung up. And I have lists of Ethereum tools and Tezos tools on my crypto just because there's so many, right, to try to keep track of. That really helps the community build, right? Especially, in terms of, continuing to bring an audience and collectors into the NFT community from the crypto space because it's a very, I started in crypto years ago. I actually left my last startup after we had gotten into a pretty good place and raised a bunch and done some good partnerships. And, stayed on the board, but literally moved up into the mountains and started trading crypto and became completely obsessed, sort of like how you're describing.
Yeah.
And, it's fascinating as you start diving into the different technology and start thinking about, well, what else can be built and, what other industries can be affected. And it's just massive, right? It's kind of never ending. It's like, to me, I would say it's probably bigger than the internet.
There's no doubt.
Internet before at least.
And the funny part about all this, both of you guys, you can very much relate with what I'm about to say. I preface this with I don't do it much anymore, but you know how important research is, market analysis, etc. So you know where to go, where you stand, what to do, what to forecast, etc.
Yeah.
It's almost you almost don't want to do research because it'll be another rabbit hole of an idea, and like 24 hours later, you're already starting some other new platform. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
I've already hired an intern. I hired my cousin to help out as an intern. And it's still not enough, right? Like I haven't sold hardly anything I've collected since early this year.
Yeah.
And mainly because I just don't have time to sell it, partly, but also partly the anything minted in this year, 2021. This is going to be the golden, look back at it as the golden year of Cambrian explosion of NFTs, right?
Yep.
And you've got I'm a big fan of historical NFTs like Spells of Genesis. I have some rare Pepe cards, things like that, because there's only so many of them, right? And there's going to be trillion NFTs that come in the future here, and not just for art, right? For utility, for interaction, for essentially as your security token, if you will.
Yeah.
It's tons of different things, and so this is the year, right? And all of us are going to be still seen as early this year, and the projects are going to be like, these are going to be the golden sort of era projects. And then next year, imagine how much it's going to be grown. Like the growth will be from here as we continue kind of the exponential ramp, and as the hurdles are kind of knocked down, whether it be technical barriers or education and understanding. And the massive inflows of people, we're starting to see with traditional art and Christie's and Sotheby's and so forth, which is validating it, right? Validating that these NFTs and these JPEGs that all these maniacs are collecting are actually worth something. And all these memes, like a rare Pepe card that's a commentary on society at a current place. And memes are art, and they actually have defined things from early days of internet, so even before the internet, right? There's a lot of value there, and not to be overlooked, right? And so anyway, I'll leave it at that. There's a number of things we can talk about with the whales.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's dive into
utility and roadmap and so forth, and maybe I'll turn over to Nighthawk to give us a little summary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and to just dovetail off what you said, we haven't breached the surface. You like my little whale reference of the NFT space?
I like that.
I mean, really, like just think about medical records. Concert tickets that can then be sold as a collect. Yeah, concert ticket that's to gain access to the event, and then that can be turned around and sold as a collectible on the secondary market. Like my mind explodes every time I start talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. Not even just like general NFTs, but like imagine you get a backstage pass and you have a NFT of like 15 seconds of you walking over and shaking the artist's hand or whatever, or athlete or. It's something like people right now, they want the photograph of it. But guess what's even better is actually having it like as authenticated on the blockchain digitally and sure. So like let's say when Twitter later this year, they basically have the NFT integration once they go live with it, and you put a profile picture up and it actually has some sort of authenticated check mark that you actually own that NFT versus just you threw some like right-click screenshot up.
Yeah, you screenshot the $10,000 piece instead.
Huge, right?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Think about the art or the collectibles or baseball cards or whatever each of us may have in our house that maybe 10 people see a year, versus being able to have those digitally where 1 billion people can see them. Putting them in your metaverse home, whether it's Decentraland, Somnium Space, whatever. Facebook, I'm sure, is coming out with the Oasis, right? Ready Player One action, which is why they bought, Oculus. And now that's the new social network where you're actually in there as an avatar. That you have clothing that are NFTs and wearables which are just starting to take off now as well.
It's about to turn into Metaverse Central in the next, I would say, 3 years.
Think how many brands want to get their clothing in on certain collections, to be worn in these new virtual worlds where, it's like Wild West for brand dollars. Huge returns on conversion, because there's, wherever capital is scarce, returns are good typically, right? And so same thing with ad spend or let's call it marketing spend. It's juicy as fuck for them right now.
Yep.
So yeah, there's lots of exciting stuff coming. But yeah, Nighthawk, What do you think? You want to?
Yeah. Jump in, please. Yeah, the Wild West is exactly the term I use probably every 24 hours. So, and I love it. I love being in this space this early. Like a lot of people don't like it because there's not a lot of structure yet. But like
you got
this
some
is
outlaws.
this is
Outlaws
this
are roaming
this
the
I'm
streets.
gunslinging, man. Like this is where I like to be. Nighthawk, why don't you run us through the whales? Let's start talking about whales.
Yeah, of course. A lot of the information is in our Discord, and I think we have a link somewhere in here, or I can put a link up after we're finished here. It's pretty easy. We got it boosted to level 3, so it's just / Crypto Whale Club. But yeah, so our kind of idea was, I've been playing around in the space as far as NFTs go since about what you were talking about, the Picasso punks, which drops were done a bit different back then, kind of these rolling batches all at once on OpenSea.
Yep.
Intro to Gas Wars. They were one of the first collections that introed us all to the beauty of Gas Wars.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, Picasso punks really was kind of the one at the time that was the one to be part of, and so that was where I kind of first started, and I think Medici was dabbling around a bit before that. Okay, little notification there. But yeah, so we started talking about wanting to do a project of our own, and this idea of these crypto whales came up, kind of combining the spaces of crypto and NFTs, and it just seemed like kind of a fun idea to run with. And then as we started building out the team, the artists we're working with, that we know from real life here, but they actually had this concept of the half human, half whale thing, and so we thought that was really cool.
Version. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long fancy word. It's pretty difficult to say. Amorphosized or something like that. You can Google it, but so we kind of ran with that, and another friend who's doing some of the dev stuff. He came up with the idea of these Atlantean whales, and they merged with the humans back in the day. Kind of went away because they didn't like how the world was going, and now they're back to kind of share this idea of decentralized currency as a better way than the current wealth inequality we have in our world today. And so yeah, we kind of ran with it from there, and obviously it's a pretty straightforward 10K type avatar style project. We've got a lot of roadmap items that we, from watching what worked and what people responded to with other projects, that we kind of carefully considered and put in. And then we also wanted to have a heavier utility component. And so we really put some thought into what all could go into that, and how we could make sure that this project isn't just a cool profile photo, but there is real value to participating in it and sticking around long term. And that's why we've got some of our deflationary burn mechanics, and we've got this idea of coin rewards, where for the first year, every week, basically, depending on what pod you're in, what whale type you have, you actually are getting rewarded based on whichever crypto is doing best that week. Hold on 1 second, I just need to mute something in the background.
So what I would say that we're big fans of Pack. We're big fans of Pack.
Sorry.
Ash. We were collecting Ash back when it was like $2.40. Yeah. And we think the burn mechanism is very valuable for whether it's collectible collections or art. It creates the deflationary mechanism that creates a increase in value. And also, we saw with Nifty Gateway, right, they flooded the market with way too much supply.
it was insane.
And it destroyed it. And a bunch of big collectors said, you know, you need to change this or else we're leaving. They didn't care. They didn't change it. And so they all left. And so now you have 888 with his, you know, the New World, his own,
Well, when you have billions of dollars and you make a platform, you really don't give a shit. You just wanted to be in the space. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So to me, it's about long-term versus short-term prioritization, though.
Correct.
Like if you want to be around for years to come and contributing value into the ecosystem and building like this, you know, kind of massive, long-standing, whether it's brand, company, or community, you care less about the short-term stuff and more about, hey, you know, how do we do things right from the start, even if we grow slower? You know, how do we be super transparent and make sure we only have high quality people joining? Different things like that, right? And so I think, and then obviously the control mechanisms where, you know, just simple economics. You've got to balance demand and supply.
Yep.
And the pendulum swings, right? If there's high demand and then you try to flood it with extra supply, you know, and you keep creating more supply, then at some point that demand dries up and now you have this glut of supply. Sort of like what happened, second quarter with consumer orders in the U.S. from consumer spending from like the stimulus checks, and then all these companies resupplied too much.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of supply and all. Anyway,
did you guys look at Punk's comics ever? They have a cool.
Oh yeah,
they have a cool.
Yeah, Meta Hero and Punk Comics. Yeah, so we're a big fan of that project. Like I said, Nouns DAO. You know, some of the projects like they're a little more recent, like Loot for Adventurers and the N project, which is like Loot, but instead of items, you have numbers. So there's a lot of generative work that is then created off that set of numbers. But what we really like about those is they're very community-driven, collaborative, and contributive. And so, you know, we're starting already before, you know, you actually hold whales and have votes proportionate to that, as well as ownership in the DAO. We're starting off with just polls, right? So voting polls in terms of different decisions we're making for the community. You know, where do we want to, you know, donate a donation to save the whales or to a different charity? You know, do we want to, you know, what do you guys think about this whale? I mean, we're still creating some of the whales so we can adjust based off what the community really likes, right? And as you know, any smart startup that's successful, you get stuff out early and often, and you listen to your customers.
Correct.
And then you make your product or service or whatever better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we're huge fans of that approach because we learned it through multiple startups and figuring out what
we're so spoiled with the time and entry to this type of space where it's kind of open forum, but with our backgrounds from the real life experience of what it seems we've all had and shared, I think we're at an unfair advantage in some aspects we're really at an unfair advantage of what we're doing, you know.
We've been training with the 6-shooters and the quick draw for a while now, as you said. So, but yeah, you know, like voting on, you know, what's going to be the DAO token. You know, we've got 3 or 4 symbols in mind that are available, right? What do we want to call it? You know, let's leave it up to the community. That's who matters most, right? So we're truly trying to champion, and part of this for us, and part of the excitement for us is the experimentation and trying to innovate with new different approaches, certain things that we like that work and that we believe in, but also, you know, how do we, essentially flatten the hierarchy and the structure of these organizations, much like, you know, DeFi is basically disintermediating banks. I don't need a bank to earn interest anymore or to get a loan. Peer-to-peer is literally wiping them out, right? And that's the same kind of macro theme across lots of stuff. And, you know, it started with the maker creator generation, Kickstarter, Uber, Airbnb, et cetera. And this is just the most recent technological manifestation of it, I'd say. Right. And you know, but there's other things, right? So a lot of times project, you know, and these are just go back to kind of understanding, you know, what drives communities. A lot of times you'll see a project that sells out and then there's this huge dump and drop of price because people sell their commons off for a big discount. And, you know, why is that, right? Just because that certain attributes of how they look aren't as rare. And so we want to, you know, one of the things we want to kind of address that, right? So now you can have a common attributes, but you could have a whale that's an earner that earns quite a bit, because every third or fourth week, it's a smaller market cap whale, and it's you're actually, out of the 20 cryptos, it's delivering the best performance for the week, because now it probably had the worst performance too, but who cares, right? All we're looking at is weekly performance. So now there's like this new kind of quantitative metric that is introduced in the sense of it's not just about how they look. There's also, and so sort of like Pac, or some of the stuff he's doing with the poets and so forth, which I don't think some of it has been completely announced, but I'm just kind of guessing or deducing where it's going. There's, we want to add extra kind of value and utility. So not only that, but you have access to this channel with these other crypto whales. So for example, I've been a holder of Chainlink for years and years, right? Because I love the data play on blockchain, right? They're the guardian of all data between Web3 and Web2. And so I want a Chainlink whale because that's what,
right.
I
get it.
And I had a huge investment.
Right.
I made a good chunk of money. So I want to like display the Chainlink. So that's another driver, right? That's not typical in the project, right? So now you have like this emotional driver, you have a quantitative driver, and then you have like some of the other aspects that are, and not to mention, just by holding a whale, one whale equals one whale. Each one is proportionate, in terms of voting and ownership. And so as the community, builds more projects and contributes to the ecosystem, and the brand's value of Crypto Whale Club goes up, your one whale is worth just as much as another one that maybe is selling for tens or 100 ETH because it looks cooler. And so like really big guys want to buy it to flex as an ego play, right? And as the new digital Rolex. But ultimately, if you're there just for the economics of it and just, participating in the entire kind of rising tide, if you will, lifting all whales, you have the same proportional increase in terms of the value that, you're staking the value of the community.
You've got an ass for every seat. I mean, literally,
right.
you're covering all bases.
So yeah, so now there's, when you have these different value levers, there's much less reason for people just to dump a quote unquote comment, because there's other utility that goes into it, and there's other evaluators now. And so, and then you have to decide, well, what's actually more important, right? So then you can look at pricing and get a little game theory, I suppose, or prisoner's dilemma, maybe, of like, okay, well, these guys are holding out strong on this specific, whale. There's only 70 of them, so they, between 50 of them or 30 of them, they have the market cornered, and they're driving price up. So how long will that last, right? We saw Vincent Van Doe fucking crush that in the art block space, and the Eternal Pump literally got up to 1,000 ether, floor, because he bought like at least half of them, if not more.
Yeah.
So now you have those kind of fun dynamics, and you could be sitting there holding this whale that doesn't seem like worth much, and then all of a sudden these kind of things start happening as certain people realize, hey, there may be some hidden value there. So that's what we like. We like to encourage thinking.
Yeah.
There might be, another thing we've been talking about with the community is building in some essentially game attributes of, speed or agility. For down the road, if the community wants to build a game and put it in Sandbox or wherever, we have some metadata that's there, that can become more something down the road. Now it's also something that we could, create these as dynamic NFTs and add in a month after drop, and then at some point lock them, right, and freeze it to Arweave or whatever. Arweave is probably best in my opinion, but there's Pinata and some other ones. Arweave I like because it's truly permanent in the sense that once you pay up front, you never have to pay again. Versus Pinata is sort of like Google Drive, where if you stop paying, they're gone. In terms of permanence. So it's not, I don't like it as much. Now, you could take over as a collector or as a project creator, but you're still relying on the project creator, just like you are with like the, what is it, 1120, typical OpenSea smart contracts, or which to us is terrible practice, just to mint off OpenSea's general contract where there's a million other NFTs minted in there, other types, or at least will be soon enough. And so projects that are actually doing the technical work of creating their own smart contracts, those give me confidence that they can create other stuff, right? That they actually have developers that can, continue to build versus just, using an OpenSea contract and dropping on there. yeah, it's pretty lazy in my opinion, and it's not best practice for the collectors in terms of permanence to be collecting on those 1120s.
Well, the
So
way,
yeah, a lot of stuff that we've like learned along the way, learned from being in the crypto space, and then learned from being in the NFT space this whole entire year. I've got NFTs across I think 5 blockchains now.
yeah,
Um,
no doubt, no doubt.
you know,
I think the most attractive, and you have definitely thought through this. I will say that this is a lot more thorough than I even knew about, and I'm like in your Discord. I'm just, we're just, time is the most valuable thing that none of us have. You know what I mean? But the thoroughness and the way that this project can pivot at any point with transparency is very attractive. I
well,
think,
and with community-driven pivoting, I think is the key.
yeah,
thing
right.
Yeah.
That's very attractive, and like you said, I mean, that's something not a lot of people are doing.
Well, those are the people that survive.
Yeah,
right. The reason a lot of companies don't stay around more than a decade
yep.
is because once they have their growth stage, they get kind of comfortable and rest on their laurels, and they stop being agile. They build middle management layers of fat that just drain efficiency and productivity, and then last, they become sort of partly because of that aforementioned reason. They're not able to adopt new things and try new things. There's reputational risk, but more so, it's just the bureaucracy of getting something new pushed through, and it goes from being rewarded for taking chances and growth to being rewarded for not fucking up.
Right, they paint themselves into a corner, and that's what I shared with you guys the moment I jumped into you guys' Discord. The mission statement, let's call it, that literally as y'all were talking, like through announcements and stuff in your Discord, I'm like, this sounds so familiar, and I pulled off my notes of one simple announcement I did in Agora's Discord of the organic growth, like the action words.
Bro.
Literally, it was like the exact same thing, and I'm like, where did these guys come from? And then, what I really like about what you're saying and what my thought track has been all along, when I went on interviews with other projects or talk shows, like when Agora was getting going, they asked me like the 30, 60, 90 question or the 3-year plan or whatever kind of question. And I honestly looked them in the eyes or in the camera and said, I don't know. I have no idea where this thing is going. I can tell you where it is right now and where it'll be in 30 days. But like outside of 30 days, I know everything I'm building along the way is a pivot point. And that pivot point being, not, oh, we're going to go this way, or, oh shit, y'all bought a bunch of clowns, too bad. Like everything is retroactively coming along with it. And, whether Agora is going to be a production house of artists, or it's going to turn into a talk show platform of artists, or it's going to turn into, what
you go where the demand is.
Yeah,
that's right.
I have no idea where this thing's going, but I can tell you where it is now. And everything that I do in the background, I'm always trending, whether it's getting double verified on NFT or getting my artist verified or building out a new tool for the blockchain.
Value, man. I love it.
It's just,
love to see it.
Yeah, and I disappear, and I feel bad because I know a lot of people, like, when sales slow down, well, they just pick back up, and now it's just a constant pace of everyday sales, which I think is more valuable than a complete sellout up front and then a bunch of dead space.
Yeah.
Just
really
consistent day, 500
wax
wax a day sales. I'll take any day over 100,000 wax sellout the first weekend, any day of the week.
It's like reoccurring revenues, right? And like why VCs love SaaS startups, because there's predictability, and if you have just one big surge and then nothing else, it's looked at as an anomaly, right? And so, but no, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You got to be dynamic and fluid, adjust the environment, especially in the NFT space that's moving at like a 5x rate.
Yeah.
But ultimately, to me, it's super important to have a vision, like a long-term vision. Where do you want to go with this, right? And there's numerous paths and ways to get there. And those are the pivot points. And those are like kind of, like I'm a big fan of using OKRs, quarterly OKRs. And then, targeting off those as, even on a monthly and weekly basis is of, okay, here's kind of short-term goals, and then reevaluating, right? When there's new data that comes in, when you get feedback from the community, adjusting, hey, should this be the third priority? Or maybe should this be 30th, right? If no one cares about this, we shouldn't be spending, resources and time. And then, kind of that balancing act of, you've got your roadmap of all the stuff you want to do. But, it's sort of like video games, right? When you got your different level up trees and you choose your path, sort of based off where you're at, you're like, okay, let's level up this specific tree and get, stronger in this area because I need this, this is more value right now versus, another sort of spells tree could be more valuable down the road. So yeah, it's about prioritization, right? And I think having to say no to a lot of things to be able to enable the best ideas to be focused on and actually execute.
Prime example, and I don't mean to cut you off. It just popped in my head. Prime example of something like this is Agora cut its teeth on a very low-tech, underutilized option on the Wax blockchain, which was auctions. Right? It was wham bam. I'm on auction 40 something. Like we go all week long, Tuesday through Sunday, 24 hours with a 48 hour headliner over the weekend, Friday through Sunday. Like it was our bread and butter. We collect 20%. We give the artist 80%. It gives them exposure. Pieces that don't normally sell are selling in that auction. Well, that's starting to, like I'm really having to put a lot more into it than really what it's, the ROI factor is not really computing anymore. So like it's just pivot points like that along the way, like the talk show. I want to run it Monday through Friday, but as you see, conversations are never like, okay, we're going to stick to 20 minutes, boys, and we're going to do this, and we're going to go in, we're going to talk.
Was it supposed to be 20 minutes?
No. Well, this is just an example. But what I'm saying is like these conversations with like-minded individuals in this particular space, like there is no roadmap for these conversations. Like I can talk with you for hours upon hours, but that's not, the directive of what we're trying to do here. So it's just little things along the way. And I think the overall goal, with Whales or with Agora or with any other project is to be that central spot for that directive. Like, we're going to be a marketplace for artists to come and be a launch pad thereof. Like that's always going to be Agora. You guys are going to be a pivot point that is community driven and focused and decided with a DAO and all the utility of these whales. Like, bro, I didn't even know that this whale was going to have so many facets and so many moving parts of like, okay, well, and I think it's brilliant what you guys are doing with the whale, like just your prime example of the common. Oh, well, hell, I don't like his hair. I'm going to get rid of him. No, I like his hair because his hair is connected to Cardano or whatever.
Sure.
Like whatever it is. And I think it's brilliant what you guys are doing, and I'm so happy you guys came on. I mean, like selfishly, I'm happy because like these are things I'm finding, like the rabbit hole I go on after these shows, because I usually dive right into the project's Discord and then I'm running around, let's fucking go, and I'm just being the personality, that bird running around.
Bird icons everywhere.
Yeah, the bird's everywhere, man, and I think it's so funny that I was so against social media because of the disconnect and every reason like your grandmother talks about, like get off your phone, go out in the yard. Like I'm from the South originally, like I'm kind of an old school mentality. I'm of that mentality, I should say. But now that I found this outlet to expel all this energy towards, like this computer and my words, and like just like I get off on it, man.
Well, you're channeling a lot of good knowledge, and I think the key thing is right when you're creating, you want to be an origination point versus a destination.
Correct.
Right, where people they come to you to figure out what's going on, give me the pulse of things, and I don't know if you're just focused only on NFTs or if there's another branch that's like crypto and DeFi chat, right? And maybe it's a once a week roundtable of like 8 different folks that are like talking about different things.
We've already started segmenting off. So in the early stages, I had a plethora of channels, and I just wanted to get the concrete foundation for one.
Yeah,
and
you focus on one
thing.
Yeah,
like dude, you could spray this shit around everywhere, and I could, if I had my way, I would have everybody all trained up. They would come in, and they would know what channel like suited their fancy, and they would go to that channel. And I think
it'll get there, right? That's
yeah,
what you're
it'll
going
get
towards.
there. It'll get there. And I don't care. And I don't want to make this about me. This is about you guys. But like, I don't care if you're looking for an investment, if you're a creator looking for somebody to help get the work out there or build you a wallet or make. I don't care if you're that. I don't care if you're an onlooker just wanting to like keep a finger on the pulse, like you say.
Maybe become a collector.
Yeah, like I want to be the pit stop between here and there always. Like maybe you go
like
run
the onboarding ramps for the masses, right?
Right.
We need for the mainstream adoption. We need these kind of on ramps to this freeway of NFTs that, like, if you just try to jump into it, it's like a fire hose that blows you away. You have no idea what to even be following.
Well, speaking of, like, I had an educational channel that I removed because I'm trying to like clean up Discord a little bit, but it's coming back.
Drill down on just a few key things, and then once those get big, you can start expanding.
Todd at Pixel Labs is doing a video series of like simplistic tools, like how to bid on an auction, how to collect your auction, how to make a wallet, how to do this, how to do that, how to get on Alcor, how to get it, you know, like all this stuff. So yeah, man, I mean we're pointed in the right direction. It's just, you know, when you have these kind of brains, and bro, I'm looking at you and I can tell like we're kind of the same. Like I got so much going on up here. I want to channel it in so many different ways.
Well, I'll tell you, we occasionally do a virtual poker game with a bunch of like basically tech founders and guys, and we just chop up a bunch of ideas. So perhaps we get you in on one of those games here.
I love it. I'd love it.
You can take all our money and we'll have a friendly discourse.
No, yeah, I'll get run over at the poker table. I wear my heart on my sleeve and my emotions on my shoulder, bro.
Excellent. So you're welcome to buy in as much as you want.
We'll definitely have to have your video on then. But I was just going to say, we have started doing these weekly crypto and weekly NFT chats, separate things in the whale server. Yeah, it'd be good to have you in on one of those too. They're just kind of in our voice lounge channel and pretty casual so far. We haven't really announced it like at everyone type mentioned, just mentioning it in the channel, and then people kind of filter in here and there. And I think it's probably better that way, just to keep the groups small and intimate. Otherwise, it could be a lot of people talking at once, in which case we'd probably resort to just doing a chat thing.
We had a good little size of group. There was like a nice roundtable one. We went over some tools like on-chain analysis and technical analysis tools and data tools to look at, like in terms of, basically the large wallets, what the volume looks like, how many new large wallets are coming online, indicating institutional or corporate buyers coming on. And, one of the things I was thinking is maybe yourself and Todd, I think you mentioned, who, has some videos highlighting different tools. I mean, it'd be great to have the two of you on to kind of, the way we structure the sessions is like half the time we've got like some domain expertise drop in knowledge on whatever specific things. And then the other half is kind of more of an open forum of, hey, did you guys see this news? Or did you see this on-chain kind of bump in numbers or drop in number for XYZ, whatever the indicator is? Or, who else is using this to do charting? Or, who wants to talk about RSIs, whatever, right? And then people can ask questions and I think the NFT chat, we actually had some great stories shared of how everyone got started with NFTs. In addition to looking at some NFT tools. And,
we also should show them in for contract and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's another great one. Alpha right there.
Yeah, I mean, as we're coming up here on the hour, I did just want to circle back briefly to what I was saying before I guess cut myself off. There was kind of an explosion of background noise, but I was talking about the burn mechanics, and I was also going to mention we do have some staking mechanics as well, which you stake one of each whale type, and you get yourself a Captain Ahab, and then this Ahab character is going to have some functionality himself. Likely he'll be basically all the whale types. And so when we're doing these coin rewards, I'm not sure if I made it clear earlier, but whichever for that week, the top performing coin or token, if you have that whale type, you're sharing in some of this 1 ETH weekly rewards. And so the AHAB could potentially be basically all coin types. And so you kind of are sharing in all rewards because you've collected one of 20, or I mean, you've staked all 20 whales, for 30 days, you get them back. And then you have this AHAB. He's kind of now got the knowledge of all the tribes, if you will.
And it drives, the key thing there too is you have a whale that comes in and is buying every single type. And so once again, going back to us addressing the quote unquote worst ones or commons, this is something that kind of drives the floor up for everything, right?
Well, and the most common type is going to be BTC, which if people are repping them as a PFP type thing, let's be honest, the crypto that the majority of people are comfortable with is BTC followed by ETH. And so
43% dominance or so right now.
Yeah, it is somewhat going to be kind of a representative or an accurate breakdown of whale type. And then, I mean,
smaller ones that people don't know as much will be more rare. So it drives those.
But what's really cool about this is that, and also the weekly coin rewards is it should encourage some pretty good secondary movement, which is great because we're actually 60% of our secondary revenue is going to the community wallet, and then that's going to drive these community initiatives that Medici was touching on earlier. But yeah, we've got a lot of things planned for this project. It's not one of those that we're going to do the drop and then we're gone. We really want to explore a lot of different functionality with this, and luckily for us, we've got the Master Brews guys on as our devs, at least for the Solidity stuff. We also have, like I was mentioning earlier, our own internal dev. He's doing more of the generative stuff and this and that. But these guys are really experienced with a variety of projects under their belt. They did the evolving mechanism with the whelps, where it was basically a little baby dragon. There was an egg and that hatched and evolved through multiple stages. And they really are quite good at writing a tight contract that's going to, for the most part, keep gas as low as possible and not have any issues.
Extra stuff.
So yeah, I mean, and then also can do a lot of unique fun things at post drop. And so, yeah, we're really excited about it, and we're in the space pretty much fully here. My company that I put on hold, perhaps indefinitely here. To do this, and this
hopefully,
is the space
hopefully, right? Hopefully.
I mean, and this is the space I want to be in, and this is the space that we all want to be in, and basically spend our whole workday in. So this is not one of those projects that's just kind of a little flash in the pan. Something that we are pretty well committed to, and are hoping to really provide some value for everyone who joins up and comes along on the ride with us.
Well, I think
looking
you guys
at as our next startup, right? And we're the kind of people, all
very stubborn. So
they literally spend 16 hours a day.
Yeah. I'm right there. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I understand. Well, I think you guys are doing it the right way. I mean, just Nighthawk, just like you described, organic and anonymity within that voice chat Discord hangout. You like it small, you like it intimate. A lot of people in this space, really value the anonymity, right? Like they really want to hide behind the avatar. They want to go be creative. They want to build their project. They want to do whatever it is. That's what's unique about DeFi, this space we're in, all this, the blockchain in general, etc. It keeps everybody honest, but you don't have to know who that particular person is in reality, essentially. So I think you guys are really doing it the right way, man. I mean, I think the transparency,
$0 proof.
Yeah,
it's like a human application of $0 proofs, essentially, kind of.
Yep. Well, guys, I think we're at a good stopping point. I definitely want to have you guys back on. I know we didn't have a lot to share as far as website.
No,
Guys,
that's fine.
I do.
We've got a website launching in like probably this weekend. So
Yeah,
there's nothing much there yet.
so I did take the liberty of, in the video description that's going to be archived on YouTube, in the description of the video, I have the links to the cryptowhaleclub.io. It's already in there for everybody's convenience. Their Twitter, which give them a follow. I'm sure you do not want to miss out, especially this early in the game with these guys. And their Discord. All those links are found in the video description under this video, and that will be permanent. Those aren't going to go anywhere. So hopefully I copied the non-expiring Discord link from you guys earlier.
That vanity link should never expire. And we started the Discord first, the Twitter second, and so we've got to do a little work on the.
Oh yeah, look, I'll let the bird blast off on the whale Twitter here shortly. Don't worry.
Hey, but if people have questions, have them drop into or come drop into the Discord. We'll answer them in there. I know that we kind of
people in there.
Yeah,
fully flesh
and these
out
guys are very
but,
responsive. Nighthawk and Medici, they're always on point within the Discord. So just hop in.
We got some great mods, and then just other people in the community that are very. Like, we have a very quality community, I'd say. Like, people are constantly, sharing ideas, giving feedback, all those good things. The one thing I'll leave you with is one last thing that we didn't mention, but we're excited about is we're working on a few artist collabs with some pretty impressive artists. That will go for when you burn whales for a gold whale or for a diamond whale of a specific whale. It's going to be some special artwork.
Your Moby Dick and your Captain Ahab. Those are probably going to be a guest artist as well.
Okay.
So we've got some really talented guys that we're chatting with. And last thing is we'll probably have a whale membership card, limited edition of like 500 that can be earned and will be really full of symbology and kind of it'll be based off Plato's retelling of Aristotle's allegory of the cave.
Are you guys already set up? And I'm just assuming this is going to be an open sea launch when you guys. It is going to be an open
from
sea.
Our contract, right? But then meant from website. Populate.
We already have a collection name or project name or whatever. Crypto Whale Club is reserved on OpenSea, as well as Crypto Whales Club.
Okay.
For any would-be scammers out there.
Are you gonna link it up with one of the bots to prove within the Discord to give you access to certain channels? Is that kind of how you're gonna head down the road?
Yeah, definitely do collab land and verify, and then you'll get an owner role.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we got all that stuff. Will be synced up nicely. It's pretty simple. These Discord.
Oh yeah,
bots,
no, it's all. So y'all got collab land. I've got that on a couple of my Ethereum Discords. We've got
like 8 different bots.
We've got Honeycomb and Wax, which is a stuck at 6 p.m. bot that does the same tool. You know what I mean? You go buy this thing. Anyway.
Nighthawk set them all up for us. He learned all about the Discord bots, and so he's got
our cyber slaves.
Yeah, that's right.
Nighthawk, will you help me? My vanity link broke 2 days ago, and I can't figure it out.
Probably good.
I'll tell you, man. Those vanity links are weird. That you got to drop people into the very top channel instead of picking which one, and there's some left to be.
I've got a nice little email to Discord customer support. I'll show you guys later.
Let us know when they respond.
No, they responded right away, and then I kind of got ghosted for a minute, and then the frustration level built up so much. I used a bunch of big words and just I probably scared them off because I literally cussed them out with big words, and then
did you throw the bird icon in there?
No, but I should have. I should have.
Did you make sure to tell them that you were typing very hard? That you were pounding your keys.
Guys, you guys have been a pleasure to have on. Please come.
It's been a blast.
Please come back. We're moving. So kind of like I said, we pivoted on some of the stuff that's more androgynous work that just eats time as opposed to working on the future. So the auctions are going to Wednesdays and Fridays, 48 hours each, and this show will be Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's going to fill up the week with the content that I want to put out. Like, personally, that's what I want to do for Agora.
It's a good schedule.
Yeah,
So,
it's an every other day. It gives me Monday to do my admin stuff and make announcements, etc. So I think it's But anyway, what I'm saying is Tuesdays and Thursdays I have a running calendar. Feel free to hop in the Discord, click on OnChain and UnCut. Just pick a day, and you'll be automatically added to the roster.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's grow our Discord a bit further, and then maybe in 2-3 weeks here we jump back in and we'll post at everyone and get a good chunk of new folks for you as well.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it would be nice to perhaps come back on a little bit before we launch.
Yeah.
Which
definitely.
is probably going to be more closer to mid-November.
Yeah, come on a little bit
Second
before
week in
Thanksgiving.
November,
I'll save a spot for you guys. We'll go through your website and we'll introduce. So the way I keep it now, just for kind of like to keep the nerves down, because it's a newer thing for a lot of people, is I just make a baby announcement, but most people rewatch it. They don't really watch it live because I think it settles the nerves down of the guests, which I don't think you guys would have had a problem with. No, but this is the first time I'm meeting you, so I don't know. You know what I mean? So
well, no, you're looking at two experienced.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm very aware. I'm very aware. But yeah, next time we'll blow this thing up and have a bunch of live people on here, and we'll get the chat going and stuff.
Well, we can answer. We love questions. I think questions really drive good conversation, and big fan of, like, as you can probably tell, interactivity.
Yeah.
And so yeah. I mean, we're happy just sitting there answering questions for 20-30 minutes.
Beautiful.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be about whales, right? It could be, we're big fans of kind of sharing knowledge and trying to educate folks, just like you. Right.
Yeah.
Which is, we've got similar kind of thinking here. So I like that.
Yeah, this is great. I could go on for hours with you guys, but we're going to cut it
there.
Hey,
let's get you into maybe next week or 2 weeks out. Let's get you on our crypto chat.
Okay.
In our Discord. We can have you, and if Todd wants to come on as well and share some tools, we'd love to have him and yourself.
Cool. Consider it done. We'll do the logistics of it via Discord.
Yeah, we can worry about it later.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I know a lot of you guys are going to rewatch this, so please give them a follow on Twitter. Join the Discord. Like he just said, they love questions, and I think that's the way this space evolves at a rapid pace. 1 month in this space is like 2 years in real life. So, you go to the bathroom and you come back, it's a rug pull. You know what I mean? Sorry, guys, I had to pee. So,
the price has doubled.
Yeah, exactly. So, till next time, guys, I'll see you all next Tuesday. I think we've got some more Ethereum projects coming on next week, so should be exciting. And guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Let's go Bird Gang.